You got the paper, I got the book. You talk about the pencil, I talk about the pen. The big round stick, baby. Welcome to another episode of the Going Over podcast. These things are just popping away. It is I, your neighborhood-friendly coach, trainer, promoter, and 44-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb, and I'm joined alongside, as always, my podcast partner. Can I ask you how tall you are?
Yes, you can.
How tall are you?
Well, you know, I'm the
wrecking ball.
I'm
Isadora.
the 7-footer, bud. Yeah,
That's
that's always my favorite thing to do is when people ask you questions that you just start making stuff up, or you just try to make it as difficult as possible, especially on those days when you've had a half a dozen people ask you to get something off the top shelf, or ask you, did you used to play football, or did you used to play basketball, or what size shoe do you wear? Like you just get a laundry list of questions, and at some point you're just like, you know what? I'm going to start having some fun with this, and sometimes I'll tell people that I'm 82 inches tall, or whatever, 208 centimeters.
82 inches small.
Yeah.
So. 82 inches small. Small Paul. That's what you need to put over there. Small Paul over in there. Hey, man, saw the shorts going up. You know what I love about the shorts going up? When I start talking about dicks and fuck and this and that, and I get to see it in the shorts, you're so much more politically correct than I am. And I want to give a shout out to the relapse of Sam Witwicky, a.k.a. Shia LaBeouf. He was down in NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana at Mardi Gras, and I'm watching the videos, and this guy is thrashed, and he's in front of the bar. He's got his shirt off with his prison tats, little Sam Witwicky from Transformers, and he's drilling people in the face and challenging 4 dudes to a fight before they pin him down, and he's up the next day, just his shorts and his headphones running. I'm like, this guy is a beast, bro. He's just living his best life, man. And that's probably because these young kids that get into Hollywood end up getting touched and fondled, maybe. You know what I mean? The old Corey Feldman run the riot act on that's a good looking kid. I remember the videos of Bieber. That's a good looking. Hey, give me a kiss, Bieber. You're an attractive young man.
Oh man,
that's just Wiki, man. I hope he gets everything back on track, and if he don't, slinging him in the streets of New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, that's funny, man. I was just listening to Bert Kreischer talking about how he met Will Smith, and that his dad was like, you know what, they're gonna ask you for sexual favors, because sometimes these guys, they just get tired of having sex with women, so it's like a new thing for them. They're just like, the only way that I can get aroused is if I have sex with men. So he's just like, I'm sitting at some sort of viewing for a movie, and he's like, I'm surrounded by all these black dudes, and he's like, oh man, I thought I only had to do one guy, but now I got to do all these guys. And it's just like this image that his dad put into his head that he just started believing, and then come to find out, it's like all these rappers that guys that he looked up to and the type of music that he liked to listen to, but he was just so focused on, oh my goodness, it's just a bunch of dudes in here that he didn't even know who they were and stuff. And he's like, missed out on an opportunity to meet all these people that he enjoyed their work.
You want an after party on the Wu-Tang Clan's bus? There's 7 of them. There's 7 of them. It's not going to be a pretty picture. I got to shift it off in the wrong direction. I like to say it's going to be my new thing. I just saw a video of Triple H. I think I sent it to you. Someone made like a montage video of him sitting at the press conference tables, and he's like, "This is what we do. This is what we do. This is what we do. What we do. This is just how we do. This is what we do. This is how we do it here." And on top of it, it said, he keeps saying this is what we do, but he has done nothing, right? This man has done absolutely nothing. You know, one of my favorite things in professional wrestling, and I know you're gonna relate to this, and you know, it happened back in the day with the Kafus and the Brian Cages and these guys. But my favorite thing in 26 years of wrestling is when WWE comes to town, and now it's AEW comes to town, and everybody gets that little everybody gets to go backstage, or they're an extra, or they get a tryout match. And congratulations to those people, right? Because that's the journey we're chasing. But it's all the what's the word I'm looking for? Not motivation, God. There's a word I'm looking for right here.
Are you looking for gratification?
It's not positivity. It's I'm gonna remember this word and I'm gonna bring it back. But I mean, enthusiastic, right? That's right. The word. That's the word. Enthusiasm. And I say keep that enthusiasm going. But for 26 years, it's always been like, oh my God, this guy's backstage. This guy got a dark match. This guy got a tryout. And it was always that run of Arco Arena, the Shark Tank, and everything else. And it's like, I always love it when WWE or now AEW comes to town, because the enthusiasm that all the locals have of the possibilities of getting signed or being backstage and wrestling in front of a big crowd, it's just something that I've always enjoyed, especially once the internet and social media hit up. I mean, can you relate to what I'm saying right here in those moments where the excitement level of NorCal wrestling picks up when AEW comes to the War Memorial Auditorium, or WWE's about to be here for the Raw before WrestleMania, and then they're gonna be down at the Shark Tank, and it's like for the week going in, the week of, and the week after, there is a lot of enthusiastic young wrestlers, and the excitement level of the possibility that one of our fellow local men or women are going to get a contract or get scooped up, and we're there right now. It always happens around WrestleMania weekend. It's been a lot on the West Coast here a lot lately, because back to back in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. I mean, I can 100% relate, because, you know, we had the time where I believe it was me, Adam, Dylan Drake, trying to think of who else was involved, but we were all security for Batista when they were going into WrestleMania, when it was Batista versus John Cena. And it was right before the where Batista came out after WrestleMania and was in the wheelchair and said that he quit, right? So we were involved in that, and I just remember kind of the uproar of who's that gigantic security guard that's standing behind everyone, that's you know, in frame every once in a while, and you know, just the speculation of oh, well, they've got this big giant guy in the very back. So he doesn't, so people can't tell that he's so much bigger than Batista and all this different stuff. So, I don't know, man, it's one of those deals. And obviously we were always very, I don't know, we knew exactly what it was. It's like, you go through the process, you step through the fucking, you know, you fill out the form, you get on there, in the database or whatever. It's not like they're seeking you out and going, hey, we want to get you on as an extra. You know, it's you doing your due diligence, right? You're like, I want to get in front of these people, so I'm going to, you know, jump through the hoops. I'm going to, you know, fill out the form, and I'm going to you know, keep pestering people to try to get an opportunity to get seen. And those are always the best opportunities, is when they're in your hometown close by. Like I think for Adam and I think it might have been San Jose and Sacramento or something like that.
Wow.
So
sometimes Fresno.
Right. Yeah, and I feel like I did like a San Diego, Anaheim one as well. And so I don't know, man. It's just
How many have you done?
I've done 2 like that. So I did a San Diego, Anaheim, and then I think I did San Jose, Sacramento, or San Jose, Fresno, or something along those lines.
So 4.
I think
4 shows.
4 shows, yeah. So it was when it was Monday, Tuesday, when it was Raw, SmackDown, Monday, Tuesday, like that, when they were doing I think it was live stuff on Monday, but I think it was taped Tuesday for Friday or something like that. But just the number of people that you come across in those situations. I know I was there with Joey Ryan one time, and I was there with one of the Young Bucks one time, and there's all those different times where people are like, I was there one time that they were picking people to get squashed by Big Show, and so I don't know, man. It's just I never got too wrapped up in they're seeking me out or anything like that. I understood the context of what was going on. It wasn't they're not sending you an invitation to come there. You basically put in an application to show up and be an extra, so I don't know what the vibe that people are putting out is, but the real situation is exactly that. You're putting in an application, or a lot of times it's we have connections of people that are referees or other talent, or somebody who knows somebody who you go, hey, they're coming close to my hometown. Like, obviously it was never in Reno. It was always, for me, it was at least 2 hours away. The one time I think I flew myself into San Diego, and then I drove with another guy to Anaheim, or vice versa, flew into Anaheim and drove to San Diego and back, or something along those lines. But it's just you're anxiously trying to get yourself an opportunity, and I think a lot of people, it gets blown out of proportion sometimes when people think, oh, because you're an extra, they're looking at you as a potential person that they're going to sign. There's obviously, what's that?
Enthusiasm, man.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's enthusiasm, but I also wonder if it is that false hope, right? Or there's the guy Ben Bishop that's constantly posting stuff like that. It's like coming back from being an extra on AEW or WWE, or getting a tryout or whatever, and now you're fucking big leaguing everyone, right? Because you were an extra, and it's like, the reality of the situation is, you put your name on a list, and they were throwing darts at the fucking list, and they go, hey, how about this guy? Let's give this guy a call this time,
Well, I mean, the reality of it is, if you get a tryout match, I've seen a lot of guys in NorCal get tryout matches, right? Like, especially with AEW when they were at the Golden One Center or whatever. But it's like, what was that, 3 years ago? And they're there, they're in the ring, they're wrestling the guys, and you were in the locker room taking profile pictures in front of the cameras. You met everybody. You came out the entryway. You wrestled. You were in front of these people. They had complete and total access to you, and you left the building without a callback or a contract. Because to me, I see that, and then I see the world champion MJF a month or so ago down at some independent wrestling company, and he hired and offered 2 guys a contract to work for AEW, 2 white guys a contract to work for AEW. It's like when Lord Steven Regal showed up at Evolve and offered Shotzi Blackheart a contract in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, that right there is what tells me, like, these guys are willing to get on an airplane themselves, the world champion, and travel and work your show and give you a contract live and go viral on there. So they know what they're looking for, right? They know exactly what they're looking for. Did you ever meet Vince McMahon?
I don't think so. I think I was in a segment with where he was kind of talking to Jericho about what he wanted on a specific segment, and some of us were just like sitting in the background essentially. And I think that's as close as you got to him. But it was very much just him just basically telling Jericho like, "Hey, you're not doing what I'm asking you to do," or Jericho didn't agree with what he was supposed to be doing. So he was doing it a certain way, and then it's like then at some point he's like, "All right, fuck it, I'm gonna do exactly what Vince is telling me to do." And as ridiculous as he thought it was or whatever, and I think that's the take that they ended up using. The one that was exactly what Vince was asking to do. So, but in my mind, that was just the lesson, right? It's like, hey, ask the promoter what they want you to do, and then go out and execute that exactly the way that they want it to be done, right? Because they're paying you to do a job, right? They're asking you to do something specific, and you want to go out and do that exactly the way that they want it. But I think so many people go, oh, well, I've got my finger on the pulse and I know exactly what, I'm going to interpret the way that I think that it should be done rather than just doing it the way that the promoter wants you to do it. So, but there's so many times like that where you see those opportunities and obviously people get signed out of those situations. You just talked about Brian Cage. We obviously know like Will Rude got signed out of that type of situation. Kafu, you have the referee Brian Nguyen or whatever that took a little different route, right? He he went to Harley's and trained there and things like that. And then my understanding was that he had a dark match and they go, hey, we don't want to hire you as a wrestler, but would you be interested in being a referee? And, and it's just one of those, you put your ego aside and go, hey, I got into this business to be a wrestler, but how can I get my foot in the door and how can I make a living off of pro wrestling? And if being a referee is the way you're going to do it,
all day.
Yeah, it's a smart thing. Like, now I don't have to take any fucking bumps. Maybe I take a ref bump in certain situations, but for the most part, man, I'm in there and I'm a fucking message translator, and I'm a try to stay out of the way type of guy, and I'm just gonna do what they're asking me to do, and I don't have to take any bumps, and to me that sounds like a win-win right there.
In hindsight, I would have gone back and I would have done the same thing, but I would have done it as a referee. 100%. Feeling the knees and the neck and the body now. I forget. I thought that might have been the one that I said no to because I turned down two of those opportunities, and one, I believe Dylan Drake took an F5 from Brock Lesnar violently into the the corner post out there. And I remember watching home from TV, they had said, hey, you want to be an extra? They want, no. And Dylan replaced me. And I think it was Dylan. And I specifically remember watching Raw and Lesnar just fucking annihilated him with it was an F10 tornado twister into the fucking, I was like, whoo. I think I was sitting there eating my dinner and relaxing. And I was like, whew, thank God I didn't have to do that. And I think another time Braun Strowman threw the guy who replaced me in the locker room overshot the fucking table on the concrete and then splattered the guy upside down in the soda machine, right? And just whacked on the concrete. Kind of like when when Kurt Angle went to overhead belly to belly Shane that first time at the King of the Ring, and he landed, he hit the wall and doink. And he didn't put his hands down to block because he was 100% certain he was going through that fake sugar glass. And he hits and stops, and then next thing you know, he's just head diving and driving himself into the canvas. Yeah, it was crazy yesterday because I pulled out the crash pad and I told everyone, I said, you're going to learn to go over the top rope backwards. You're getting clotheslined over. And everybody did very well doing it. and the pads down there, and 6'7" Jalen Love goes, man, I think I can Undertaker clear the top rope. And I go, the coach, the better of me, comes in, right? And I go, hey, man, I'm like, you're about to debut here in 2 nights. I'm like, don't hurt yourself. And he's like, I got this. And he took a couple runs at it. And it's me and it's Annabelle down here because everybody's in the ring and she's putting her wrestling shoes on. And I'm just sitting here watching this going, I don't think this is a good idea, but I believe in him, right? And he finally takes that run, and it was in slow motion for me. And he runs and he jumps, and I'm like, whoa. And then he catches both of his shins and his feet on the top rope. And in slow motion, I see this guy coming nosedive from like 10 feet up towards the apron. And he dips his shoulder and misses the apron and lands off the pad on the floor. And I'm like, and I look over at Annabelle and she's looking at me going, and I go, are you all right? And he goes, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, holy shit, you know? And then later in the day, there was a couple guys that like him again, but there was just everybody was going hard last night, man. And I try to tell these guys, I'm like, we got a big one coming up, right? So it's that thing where Jesse Garcia, after 3 years, is coming back at this event. And you know what I saw Jesse Garcia doing yesterday? Standing safely in the corner the entire practice, coaching. I don't believe I ever saw. He had his new boots on and he was standing in the corner getting those things filled out. And I don't think he ever even physically combated with anybody unless I grabbed him to show a couple things. And I was like, that's a smart man right there at a young age, because he knows. He's like, man, I blew my knee out at a trampoline park and missed a huge opportunity. 2 knee surgeries later and almost 3 years, I lost a chunk of my career. And here's this opportunity for me coming back. And he's taking it very seriously. And, you know, that's the one thing I would tell you young guys, man, is protect yourself. You know, go to class, push around, spar, sweat, take a couple bumps, you know, it's okay to push around the ring and chain and do stuff like that. But coming into class, if you already know how to do something, if you know how to take these, if you know how to do these spots or something, whatever you're doing, and you got, especially if you got something that's of importance to you coming up literally within a couple days, don't be the guy, man. Don't be the guy. Don't be the girl. It's be safe, and better to be safe than sorry, right, Paul?
That's it, man. I know that I've done my fair share, right? I've done that Undertaker dive over the top myself, and I don't know, just you want to prove that you can do some of these things, and you know, it's just, I don't know, it's there's a time and place for these things, right? And maybe not at training where you could a couple days before a big event. You know, these are a lot of these things are fueled by adrenaline, right? You're going to be able to do it when you got the adrenaline behind you, but you're not going to be able to do things just cold like that. You know, I think about you know, in high school playing basketball. You know, I was one of the guys on my team that could dunk on a pretty regular basis. But it was, you know, we had a winter sports rally and music going and the fans going crazy and stuff like that. And somehow you're jumping higher at that point. So, you know, then instead of just doing really mundane dunks, I'm doing a little more tricky stuff. And after the fact, I'm like, how the fuck was I doing that, man? You know, but
Big
it's
dick
just
energy.
That's it, man. You start getting the crowd behind you. You start getting that music. You start getting that, you know, just you get fired up, man. You get the adrenaline, and all of a sudden, you know, that's and I had the same thing on my senior night in college. So,
fourth time we've been okay. You're still talking, okay?
Yeah, hell yeah, I'm still talking. Yeah. So
Well, it was spinning. I'm sorry.
right. That's right. Is he gonna talk? Is he gonna talk? Yeah. So it's the same thing, man. You get that adrenaline rush, and you're able to do crazy things. But I don't know, man. I have confidence that I can do a lot of things like that, but it's just like, you don't want to take the risk of getting hurt when you can do more simplistic storytelling stuff.
Well, we're getting at this point now with these guys where we've shown and executed the wrestling up here and moving around the ring, and we've shown how to apply everything and why and how to counter and chain it back and switch it up, and we've done the takeovers, and we've wrestled on the mat and done it all down there and worked our way up and rise up, and so we've done all this stuff. So these guys literally know all this stuff, right? My favorite thing as a coach now is to stand on the side of the ring while they're doing this, and they'll go to take somebody over, and I'm like, stop, clinch him, move him back. What are you doing? You're going to take him over right there? Or they do take him over, and it's in the wrong place. And last night was funny to me because these guys were out of position, and I said, okay, stop, look where you're at. Just keep the headlock on. What are you doing? I'm like, now work with each other to get back into the center of the ring. And then they get back there and they do something. I say, all right, get back out of position real quick. And these guys who every fucking time they would do this were out of position. When they finally got back in position, and I said, now where you're at, go keep the hold, but go back out of position. I want to show you this. I couldn't get these guys to get back out of position. They just wanted to move it around they were professionally staying in the ring and working around with each other. And I'm like, get out of position. Get out of position. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't get you guys to get in position this whole time. And I finally got you to understand to work while you have the hold on to get back into the center of the ring. And now I'm asking you, I saw something. Go back out of position real quick so I can show you how to work it in position. And they're just moving around perfectly in the center of the ring, like there was a fucking fence around them. I'm like, get out of the center of the ring, get back out of position again. And I couldn't get them to do it. So it's just become one of my favorite things that now they're down there. I'm like, what would you do? What would you do right now? He's in a head scissor, and I'm showing him how to reach under the leg and pull the legs straight so they're not in the scissor with the right crank momentum, but he's got the arm trapped. And I'm like, you got to get that arm free first. You're going to tear. In reality, you're going to trying to roll over this way. You're going to tear your fucking shoulder out of socket. You know what I mean? So it's getting really fun for me now because they know what to do. Just to sit out there and go like, what are you doing? What would you do? Come on, dude. And it's a great way, I think, to train somebody because they know what to do and they don't want to. Everybody becomes clueless when it's time to start working this stuff. And then you're sitting there on the outside of the ring going, come on, bro, what would you get from here? I've showed it to you a million times. And then you see their eyes light up like, oh. And then they make the counter, and then they start getting the positioning better. And I just feel like, there's a real special group going on there. We talk about everybody in the NorCal scene, and I'm sure a lot of scenes are, but like what's going on in that building right now is I know in a couple of years, we're going to look back to all of us hanging out after the practice, standing out there with our feet freezing in the cold. And we're going to go, man, these were such good times that we overlooked, because now everybody's going to be 2 years from now, they're going to be all over the place, or we're going to be working. We might not even be in that building. So another thing I want to tell you guys out there, enjoy the present. Don't think too much about the future, because you might look back at this and you might have actually missed some of the best times you ever had.
Absolutely. And I feel like I'm always saying that about basketball stuff. Right? You're at basketball practice and you're like, oh shit, what time is it? We always get the question, hey coach, what time is it? It's like, don't worry about what time it is. When we're done, we're going to be done. But cherish these times, because you're going to look back. At some point, you are going to have your last practice as a high school basketball player or whatever. and you're going to look back and go, man, what I wouldn't give to just have one more practice with those people or whatever, man. So it's just the times that we're in, and it's like, obviously it goes right into wrestling training. It's like you're in there and it's like, fuck, man, how many more bumps do I need to take, or how many times do I have to get this perfect before I can get out of the ring? And you think about all those things, the mindset that we're in sometimes, and you have to do exactly what you're talking about. You have to just, take a step back and go, hey, man, at some point this is going to be over with, and I'm going to wish that I was just back in there for one more training session, or I was in there for one more round of chops, or I needed to get 5 flat back bumps or whatever. I had to do whatever the task required of me, and I was so irritated. I just wanted to get out of the ring, but at some point you're just going to want to get back into the ring.
I remember when JJ Perez hurt his neck, right? And I was like, oh man, JJ hurt his neck. He's not going to be able to do this anymore. And that was someone who was very impactful on my career, 4 or 5 years in, man. Taught me a lot about working on the fly and crowd psychology, like listening to the audience. He really was that guy for me. And I remember he hurt his neck. And then, when I was with Gabe and all those guys, they were like, oh, we're going to put a mask on him and he's going to be Mr. Wrestling 4. And I remember he came back as Mr. Wrestling 4, and I worked him 2 different times, right? And I got to work this guy in front of in gym wars and in front of a big crowd, I believe, in San Francisco at the John O'Connell High School for Revolution. And I just remember like thinking, man, this ain't JJ anymore. This ain't going to be, those classic trilogy of matches we had for those internet belts. And I got in the ring with this guy who really couldn't take a bump at his size. And I was like, what the fuck am I going to? And he taught me so much more about wrestling then, because he's shuffling his feet and he's working this character and the jabs and the elbows. And JJ and I, as Mr. Wrestling 4, I believe we actually did better work for longer and more entertaining doing nothing, because he couldn't bump and I'm way bigger than him. I thought the work was funner, and I thought that the crowd was into it a lot more because we weren't bumping. We were more focused on the audience. So that was the point in my career. And I always give a lot to JJ Perez, man, because after I trained with Skits, and then I trained with Ollie, and I'm down at APW, Gabe gave me the opportunity to work with JJ. Like, we got married, and it was just these battles for this internet championship. And JJ finally put me over. And that was outside of my own company. That was my first big championship that kind of let me know, like, hey, you're here. You know what I mean? Now you're going to go to Japan. You're kind of here, man. You're on the map. People are looking at you like, and then I remember I learned so much from him, crowd psychology, listening, and on the fly wise, that when he later in my career, this is another 4 years down the road, when he was Mr. Wrestling 4, I learned even more from this guy. I learned how to work the audience even more. I learned how to wrestle without having to bump my opponent and how to sell more. I really learned about sympathy from a baby face, and I really learned what the heel needs to do to put that on the baby face. And I was telling the guys at class, and I'll shut up, but I was telling the guys at class, I was like, if you're a baby face and you're supposed to get some offense on me, right? We got it planned in the back. We got it figured into the business that you're gonna come back and get some action on me as the bad guy healing it. If you can't get that crowd to start chanting for you or clapping for you, if you can't get that audience behind you, why in the fuck would I give you any offense? I should just beat you. Because if the crowd doesn't care about you and vice versa, and you can't get that audience to get sympathy and care about you, I feel like you shouldn't get any offense, because the crowd doesn't care about you. Why am I going to waste me bumping, and why am I going to waste any more time out here? They don't care about you, or you're not doing your job right. So you're not going to get any offense on me until you earn that offense. And you don't got to do much to earn it, right? Just look like you give a shit out there. I just feel like if they can't get the crowd to do what you're trying to get them to do, they don't need the offense, man, because the crowd's not going to care anyways. It's not like they're sitting on their hands looking at this baby face and not getting behind him, and then he starts hitting a series of moves out of nowhere, and they're like, now I really like this guy because he did 2 clotheslines and a hip toss.
But you could turn it around the other way. You could say, as the veteran working heel, you should be able to get that, create that sympathy for the baby face. You know, you think about like those really good heels can just irritate the crowd to the point where they just want the baby face to fight back, man. Like, fucking kick his ass, man. That guy's such an asshole. I want you to kick his ass. So I think a little bit of that is going to have to fall on the heel as well. And hopefully the more veteran guy is going to be able to elicit some sympathy out of the crowd for the baby face. But, you know, obviously you need that baby face to be able to have some fire and fight back and not die. I think that's the biggest thing that I've tried to impress on people is, as the baby face, you just can't die, man. You got to keep fighting back. So you got to be in there doing that type of stuff. So, I'm thinking about this Rumble. Obviously, by the time people hear this, it is already going to be over. But I'm thinking about those things like the things that I feel like I've said 1,000 times in training is like, where does it hurt, right? You know, guys not forgetting that they're getting their ass kicked or someone just punched you in the face or whatever. And I just remember somebody telling me, and it's for me, it's the thing that I remember most is someone was saying like, you know, Vince McMahon was doing that to someone, like someone wasn't selling properly. So he's like had the guy in the corner and just fucking grabbed him by the dick. Right. And all of a sudden the guy's like just trying to take your hand off of his dick. Like, why are you doing that? Because you're fucking hurting me. It's like, exactly. Right. Mm-hmm. You need to protect where it hurts. You need to sell where it hurts. Right. You think about so many times, and I've been watching like some videos and stuff, little training things. It's like, in my mind, when somebody snatches a headlock on you, you're probably not just going to be able to back them up to the rope and shoot them off. And somehow get out of this headlock that he's squeezing the shit out of your head with, right? You're going to have to do something to get that grip loosened. Or I think one of the things that I learned from you is you know, that you're pulling that as you're trying to shoot them off, you know, to loosen the grip, and so all the things make sense, and it gives you a reason that this guy you know, got out of the headlock, right? It's not just because it's the choreography, you know, the choreographed, you take the head, I'll shoot you off, and we'll go into whatever sequence we're doing. You have to give a reason for this guy to loosen his grip or let go or whatever. It doesn't just happen because you push him back to the ropes, or it doesn't just happen because you put your hand in the middle of his back and push him towards the other rope. There has to be a reason for that. So try to remember those things. Go ahead.
Well, first I wanted to say, you were talking about, yeah, you just go up to a student and grab his dick, and he's going to defend that properly every time.
Of course.
You take a broom handle and shove it up somebody's ass when they're not looking, they're going to sell that thing properly every fucking time, right? Like, right. Their reaction, what are you doing, mother? They're the anger. It's all going to be there. But you were talking about that tackle just now, and there was a couple things I wanted to talk about, because I'm talking to Nash we're texting, right? Like a couple little high school girls. He's at AEW at the Memorial and Zack Memorial Auditorium, or whatever they call it now. The T-Mobile Auditorium. But he's there, and we're texting while we're watching the matches. I'm watching it on live stream over here because I don't ever watch it on there. I got HBO Sports, and I'm watching this Omega Swerve match, right? And sure as shit, it starts out, and these two, they got the crowd behind them. The audience is actually chanting "Holy shit," and these two guys could give one shit less that they're chanting that. They're, nope, we want to lock up, right? And I'm thinking, like, why? Why? You got fucking 30 minutes left on this program and an overrun into Impractical Jokers or whatever the fuck's coming on next. Is like, Tony Khan's not going to be mad at you if you go 40 minutes. He don't give a shit. And they lock up, and he grabs the headlock, and there's no defense. And he walks the guy back to the rope, brings him back to the middle, shoots him off the rope, and gets hit with the tackle. And I'm just like, oh God, come on, guys. And then they get up and they lock up again, and the other guy grabs the headlock, and he's secured the hold. He's got it. And the other guy walks him back 9 feet to the rope, 9 feet to the middle, shoots him off, and he hits him with the tackle. And the people are going, and I'm in my head going, man, there was so much detail that you could have put in the middle of that. You could have got so much more time out of this. But they did these two fake wrestling spots that should never be done in wrestling. And I don't care what anybody says. If you want to argue with me about that, then, hey, man, I'm going to question how far you are along in the business, you out there in non-subscriber land. But so you do these two incorrect things that are just lazy. And then they're outside the ring and they're fucking doing all this. And then fucking Omega's hit fucking 29 V triggers, which they all look good and sound good. But it's like, in reality, you have running kneed this dude in his fucking face 29 different times, and he's still in the fight. What's wrong with one? And if the situation is a big time pay-per-view type situation, maybe two. But 29 of these goddamn things, and maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was definitely double digits, right? And then he's just so concerned about snapdragon suplexing him on the apron or off the apron, on the floor, through the tape. And I'm thinking in my head, like, why doesn't he just do the goddamn move in the middle of the ring? He did it earlier twice, and then they were outside trying to do it. And I'm like, because the fans will not believe that that could beat somebody done in the center of the ring. Because they've done so much shit and desensitized this audience to believing that I have to fucking full Nelson German suplex this guy off the apron to the concrete floor. Or I have to do it on the hard part of the apron or through a table. And then now I have to pick this supposed lifeless guy up and roll his ass in the fucking ring and then try to pin him in the ring instead of doing it. But the thing is, the finish happened in the center of the ring anyways. The fucking finish happened in the center of the ring. So why go all over the place and do this shit and try to do all this crazy stuff because the audience goes, well, if he hits him with that less than 30 minutes into the match, he can't beat him. He's got to drive him through the plate glass window down there, or it's not going to work. And then they're like, Swerve went heel. And then I hear people arguing, no, he didn't go heel. And I agree with the people that said he didn't go heel. I agree. Because the audience doesn't treat any of them like good guys, doesn't treat any of them like bad guys. Nobody's healing it up. They're just like, it's my turn. Okay, is it my turn? Yep, it's my turn now. And then here's my question. If somebody is over as a babyface selling merchandise and the fans love him, why in the fuck would you turn that guy heel? He's over. And if somebody's over as a heel, getting a shit ton of heat, why would you try to turn him into a baby face? He's over as a heel. So how about this, guys? If you're a baby face and they notice your merchandise sales are starting to go down a little bit, you're up here at 100% and you see it swindling down to 80% sales, and the audience starts going that way with you too, then go ahead and flip that motherfucker over to be a heel. I just think it's so dumb. It's like, Swerve went heel tonight. No, he didn't. He does all this shit. As a matter of fact, he fucking assaulted Hangman Adam Page's fucking baby one time in his own house. And then he sat out front in the house in a fucking rocking chair and committed grand arsonist. He burned his house down. Cool image on the screen, but hey, 911. Yep, it's Swerve Strickland. Nana was there too, and they burned down the heavyweight champion's house. It's rubble now, and it's live on TBS. So let's go ahead and throw him in prison for a while. It baffled me. I was listening to everybody go, man, this is amazing. And I'm like, this is utter dog shit. And I don't think these guys are bad athletes, or they don't. But what I'm watching that the people think is good, I'm like, this is trash. It's athletic, but it's dog trash is what it is.
Oh, it's funny, and of course the response you're going to get for saying that type of stuff is you don't understand, right? Oh, you don't understand how to do this, or you're too old. Your time has passed you by, and you don't understand how it works anymore. And I feel like I hear Ugly talk about it all the time. Like, hey, I'm gonna train in this old school way, right? Where the you hit someone with one big move and that's the end of the match, and you're telling a story, and all the same stuff that you're talking about. It's like you don't need to hit a guy with 15 moves to beat him, right? Because now it takes 15 moves to beat someone, right? You're establishing a new baseline of what it's going to take to beat someone, and then when you watch a UFC event or something like that, and you see somebody get tapped out, or you see somebody get knocked out by one punch, and you go, oh shit, that's what reality is. You're going to get fucking dropped with a punch, or a guy's going to kick you in the head and you're going to be fucking knocked out cold, and they're going to have medics in there trying to revive you and things like that. And then you see, and I obviously this is something that for me was a hot button in 2010. There was another company that was trying to run here in town, and it was a battle royal actually, and these guys are like running across the ring and fucking Superman punching and just doing all this stuff, right? And it's like, I'd like to come to your school and just talk to these people about, at that point where people are really trying to go, hey, wrestling is phony, right? Because I watch a pay-per-view on a Saturday night at UFC, and I see a guy get tapped out with an ankle lock or whatever, and then you watch someone on Sunday on a pay-per-view stay in an ankle lock for several minutes, and not only do they stay in it for several minutes, but now they get out of it, and then they get back on the offensive, and they're not selling that ankle that was hurt. They're just doing big moves to beat the guy, or whatever the situation is. So this has been a hot button for me for a long time here. So for me, it's just you're preaching to the choir when you're talking about people are doing too much, and you're setting the bar way up here of what it takes to be victorious, rather than making one move mean so much more. And you hear, and maybe it's an old school thing to say less is more, but you hear that so often, right? Don't have a guy in the corner and hit him with fucking 10 punches and then have him reverse you, right? Have a guy in the corner and hit him with one big punch and then stay in control, right? Because one big punch is devastating, right? If somebody gets hit with one big punch, it is going to be devastating, and it's going to have some sort of effect on them. But if I hit someone with 10 punches and they're able to reverse me or or get back in control very quickly, then my punches absolutely suck.
Well, if you at 7 feet tall punch me in my mouth, in my temple and my jaw, and I wouldn't get up and be able to run. My equilibrium is fucked. And I'm not, and it's like, why even do the headlock and the tackle off the rope and then do it back to the guy if you're just going to go outside and do this bullshit? It's bullshit. That's just what it is. I have no problem with athleticism. I thought it was amazing that he went to Snapdragon swerve off the ring apron and he took the bump like a moron and Swerve did a backflip and landed on his feet. I probably would have blown out my knee. You know what I mean? At that age, maybe I could. Well, he's fucking 35 now, and Omega's 41, and he don't got much connection on his hair left anymore. You know what I mean? It's been dyed a little too many times. But the thing is, but why? Like I don't mind the athleticism. You can do the big stuff. I just don't need you to do shitty wrestling at the start just for shits and giggles. Oh, look at me. I've secured the headlock. Oh, who cares? I'm not even going to defend it. How about I escort you back 9 feet to the cable rope, and then I'll gallop with you 9 feet this way, and then without even pulling my fucking head out, I'll just scoot you off the rope and I'll wait there for you to run me over. And then you can do that back to me. Okay, we gave him a minute and a half of wrestling. Now let's try to fucking maim each other with knee strikes and it's just they could have done less, and they could have spaced that out, and they could have wrestled more. Because I believe the quote of the day that I always hear, there's fucking pie running down Mercedes Monet's face. Darby Allin has just abducted a wrestler, or I think in the last 3 weeks, they've kidnapped Gabe Kidd and Connors have kidnapped Darby Allin twice, and then Darby just showed up and basically did a live kidnapping in front of fucking 2,000 Sacramento natives and took Gabe Kidd. And you look on the bottom of the screen and it says, this year's the current record for these wrestlers, 23-2-1. And then I'm like, how about you put the amount of kidnappings and abductions down there below it too? Like, Darby Allin is 3-2-0 and kidnaps to being kidnapped. And it's like, if you're gonna make a fucking statement and you're gonna say this is where the best wrestle, well then fucking do it. If you're gonna keep fucking records, do it. Let's make it important why this guy has I thought I read a long time ago that Turbo Man that's that guy was in Japan. What was that fucking guy's name? He brought in this weird masked little luchador. I forgot his name, like Blazing Astronaut or something. It was someone will correct me, but the guy was like 40-0. Can he get a fucking title shot? Can he get a title shot? Because let me be honest with you, Paul. If you had 40 games in the regular season, okay, basketball, baseball, football, fighting, and you went 40-0, and then it's time for the fucking playoffs, and they go, oh, you guys just missed the playoffs. And you're like, what? We went undefeated. We won 40 games to none. We have a 1,000% record. Nobody else, the team underneath us, the second best team in the league, only lost. They lost 10 games. We were 40-0, and this motherfucker is the second team under us out of 20, 40 teams, was fucking 30-10. Yeah, I know, but you guys missed the playoffs. Well, how about we're not even the number 1 seed. We're not even in the fucking playoffs. I can't even play for the championship at 40-0. 5 minutes remain in this podcast, man. It is ridiculous. I wish I knew the guy's name, Astro Man or Astro Glide or Anal Ease or whatever his name. Do you know what I'm talking about? The little luchador.
I have no idea. I watched AEW at the very, very beginning because it was like, all right, it's going to be competition. It's going to be interesting. It's going to up everyone's game. And then at some point, the frustration grew where it was just, all the big stuff happening over and over and over. And it just didn't make sense to me. And it's like, you could, it could be a competition. It literally could be like, oh, we're the best promotion. No, we're the best promotion. We've got the best wrestling. No, we've got the best wrestling. You could have a legitimate competition where, people could have that conversation. But I just feel like you've got just a lot of the stuff that frustrates the two of us about AEW, so it's just like, I just lost interest, unfortunately.
Moon Man? Is his name Moon Man? What is that little fucking guy's name? Asteroid or fuck, dude. I forgot his name. That's the worst part. He's 40-0, and I don't know his fucking name for the sake. I got to go to fucking Google to search it, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, WWE's just as bad. You tune in for Monday Night Raw or Raw is War or whatever the hell Raw on Netflix. That shit's bad. Now they're feeding us 3 hours of SmackDown. So don't think I'm just bashing on AEW. WWE's product is wishy-washy as well. But fucking Moonglow, what is this guy's name? Do you have your phone on you right now?
I do. I'm looking right now to see if I can find. It's not Hologram, right?
That's his name right there. Thank you, because I was going Hologram. Fucking Look up his record. Look up his record. Say Hologram's record. I guarantee it's like if he hasn't lost yet, he's like 40-0. We will wait on this one.
Oh yeah. Yep, 34-0.
34-0. He don't have a belt on him. He's not in the main event. He don't got a title shot.
It says breakdown. You got 2024 13-0, 2025 17-0. So I don't know, man.
And does it have his title history over there? Because he hasn't won a belt.
It just says no defeats on AEW cards across singles, tags, trios, or multi-man matches. That is 100% winning percentage in 34 matches.
This guy is fucking almost 40-0. And he can't make it to the playoffs. That's hilarious. What are you keeping records for? Give me a break. You got 45 fucking belts, both companies, and this guy's fucking undefeated. Like, I'd love to go back and actually look at the list, because how many wins did Goldberg have in a row? It was like, wasn't it like 300? Like he was like 300-0, or what was it?
Oh, I have no idea about that. Yeah.
I'd love to look at that list, man. I bet that list is just full of just shit. You know what I mean? Like Bobby Starr.
Well, I'm looking at, so it's got all of the victories. There's Jay Lethal's in there, Josh Alexander's in there, Leo Rush is in there, Max Caster, Brian Cage.
Hologram beat Brian Cage.
Ari Daivari 3 times.
Did you just say Hologram beat Brian Cage?
He did, yeah. Johnny TV.
How has this not won this guy at least a trios championship?
Something.
This guy beat that list of names, and Johnny fucking Onyx, Johnny fucking Nitro, and Brian Cage eats more eggs for breakfast than this guy weighs. And he beat Brian Cage and he hasn't got a fucking title shot yet. This is what I'm talking about. And I don't usually, the last 30 minutes I just actually started talking about this for the first time in my life, really going into because I don't watch this shit. And I watched it and I was arguing with someone while I was watching it. And I'm like, now I talked about it and I could probably go another hour just before I have to go. Cause I could put in another 5 right now I think I'm going to go watch some AEW and, but I'm not even going to go back and watch it. I'm going to start watching it. And then I'm going to come on to this fucking podcast and maybe we get some more subscribers because I'm over here. You don't understand, Zach, you don't understand what's going on with modern wrestling. The energy bar and the energy bar. And on top of the energy bar, Street Fighter 2 Turbo and Mortal Kombat 3 not only were doing fatalities, they were doing animalities and bestialities, and then they decided to do 12-strike combinations. And if you do a 12-strike combination, that will bring their energy bar down low enough so that you can finish them with the proverbial O'Connor roll, schoolboy roll up, or the dreaded highest winning percentage pinning combination of all time that's won more world championships than anything else, the dreaded inside cradle. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess I don't understand modern wrestling. I get it now. Here we go. 20,000, a 12-hit combo is better than a 3-hit combo. I got it because it's more, right? So the 12 hitter is better than the 8 and the 6 and the 12, the 3 and the 1. So the more combinations of finishing devastating strikes and moves you hit, drop the wrestler's energy bar so you can now beat them with a roll-up. I got it. I got it. I get it. It makes sense to me now. Sorry, I want to apologize to everybody out there. If you make it this far into this podcast, because we're about to close out, and I want to apologize to everybody because I'm stupid. I did not understand. I thought, psychologically, it doesn't make sense to why they're not selling this, and there's no heel and no babyface. I didn't realize that Zangief or fucking Raiden's over here taking on Sub-Zero, and it makes total sense to me now, guys. I apologize for my actions for the last 15 years stuck in the 80s and the 90s. You have to hit 15 to 20 strikes and move combinations to wear the modern professional wrestler's energy bar down. And once his energy bar is down and he's sitting here wobbling because he doesn't have any energy left, then you can rip off your mask and Scorpion wins. Fatality. Hey guys, we're going to talk more about modern wrestling. Hit that subscribe button. I want to apologize to all the modern wrestling fans, and I want to apologize to all the modern wrestlers out there today. It finally became clear to me, and I did not understand that double-digit strikes and moves wear your energy bar down. Now we can sell, and now we can pin our opponent. So for Zack Primetime Reeb, the old-ass man who's out of touch with his penis and himself, and the wrecking ball, all 7 feet of them, we'll see you next time, and we're going over. Hold on, Paul. 8, 9, 10 choke slams. He's back up, but he's wobbling. Schoolboy roll up. 1, 2. We're off the broadcast, everybody.